Do you know who Malik Hassan Sayeed is? If you don't, I think you pretty much know who he is because you've seen his work before. Malik Hassan Sayeed is one of the most influential cinematographers of his generation, a master of light, shadow, and color who defined the look of the 90s urban cinema and continues to shape contemporary visual media. So what stuff are we talking about? Like 90s what? Like what have we seen? Well, if you're familiar with any of Spike Lee's work and Hype Williams, one of my favorite cinematographers, you've seen Malik Hassan Sayeed's work. Spike Lee, like what movie did he do with Spike Lee? Well, his big break was one of my favorites, Clockers, and he was promoted as director of cinematography for that particular movie. The look that Clockers got that I think gave it its groundbreaking look and feel was Malik's use of high contrast lighting and saturated colors, very heavily saturated colors. Like one of the characters' red shirt is really, really red. And it looks like it's almost done, I don't want to say with a video camera, but the colors are really popping, and this is something that he actually does intentionally. He also uses a very unusual film stock, I think, to capture and get that kind of look that he's looking for. He's been known to use film stock such as the Kodak 5239 Edichrome reversal film. I particularly do not have film stock experience, but it's something I like to play around as I grow within this industry. Well, the film stock actually has to go to an actual camera that actually holds film. So this is way before the digital era actually of cameras came in. So he was using the ARRI Flex 535. That is definitely a film camera. By the looks of it, it's got that whole big wheel thing where you actually put the film in and everything like that. So now you will not be able to do that digitally unless you actually put a LUT in your digital camera that actually mimics or probably even gives you the look of what you're trying to go for film stock in a digital sense. So, or you could do it after in post. He continued to work with Spike Lee in He's Got Game and Girls 6. Two movies I really could say I didn't watch. And I know I probably should get my card revoked, but eventually I'll get to him. I guess I just wasn't really interested, particularly in those stories. His collaboration work continued with these two movies with Spike Lee. Now, one of the real movies that I really, really love, and I watch it repeatedly, is a movie called Belly. And this is where he enters into his work with Hype Williams. And there's a much different look with Hype Williams in his movies because his stuff and his music videos are always pretty much very dark. A look that I particularly like, and sometimes too dark could be too dark, like the Batman movie that came out not too long ago. A lot of people complain about how dark it was. I personally didn't see any issues with it, but in the dark spots, there were no really way to actually distinguish the background from the actual character. So, but in Belly, this is not done. This is done very well. But we're not here to talk about Hype Williams per se, not yet. There is a stylized slow motion thing that actually kind of bothered me a little bit because it looked like somehow he didn't particularly use the proper percentage to slow down your footage, and it looks very staticky. And at first I thought it was bad. I still think it's a bad look, but it worked with the story because certain things actually kind of fall on beat. But I don't think most people really paid attention. Most of your time when you do slow-mo, not most of the time, when you do slow-mo, you raise it at a very high frame rate to then slow it back down in 24 frames per second or per minute, whatever. And there's a certain amount of percentage that you should reduce it to so that it moves smoothly. In this case here, he didn't do that at all. It was stylized intentionally. And once you have an intention and you can see the intention, you can kind of let it go by. I still don't like stuttery slow-mo, but it worked here. And then again, stylizing is what he's doing here. He's creating a look for himself and a name for himself. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting is here is a lot of these Black directors, Black actors, people of color coming into film, and one of the things that's extremely important is lighting the skin, such as myself. Window over here, huge window, it's the patio door, and it's giving me this soft light. Now, coloring me is gonna be tricky for me because I'm not necessarily good at the coloring in a sense, as well as lighting to create sharp, smooth skin tones is critical. And this is what this man has done. He's been able to do that and master skin tone coloring, or for the colors in itself, the lighting that he does actually helps how the skin tone looks. I'm not super light, I'm very dark, and we want to get this as smooth as possible. Again, lighting is everything. Pay attention to this book light thing I just did, because lighting is key to everything, as well as sound. Took a break to focus on his family, but entered back in doing a few music videos that we all know and love. He co-DP'd Beyonce's Formation and Lemonade, as well as Kanye's Gold Digger, a classic, everybody knows it, and Lauryn Hill's X Factor. So he jumps back into pretty much where he got started in the help of doing music videos. They're always fun to do. I can't lie. Every now and again, I don't mind doing a music video. It doesn't necessarily pay the same way as narrative pieces do, but depending on your budget and depending on the artist, you get actually really good work, really good cinematic looks for music videos. Today, people are just really taking the camera as such, going out in the street, doing their thing, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you actually get something. But how do we separate our everyday person with a camera to somebody who actually studies the craft? The difference between you shooting with a camera and you coming up with an idea of how we're gonna shoot this particular scene. Lens choices, color, film stock. These are all things that DPs or people who really care about the art really focus on, as opposed to, I just got a camera, it's nice, I got some fancy looking lens and I'll do some crazy stuff. And you could get away with that, and that's a philosophy that you could use. But always think cinematically, always think story. And this gentleman, Malik Hassan Sayeed, it's definitely a person who thinks about what he's going to shoot before he shoots it. This man's resume is actually a little bit more extensive than dealing with just two of my favorites, Spike Lee and Hype Williams. He actually did some work for Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. That movie, if you've never seen it, I suggest you see it. Even though he wasn't necessarily the first DP or the major DP for that particular film, he was head of the second unit of the director of photography for that film, Eyes Wide Shut, which is an extremely good movie. I suggest you watch it if you never have. And if anything you watch it for, you definitely want to watch it for the colors that they play with in that movie as well. Story is bananas. Check it out. I don't want to spoil anything. I forgot to close out on this segment of my video essay on Malik Sayeed, but check out some of his previous work. Tell me what you think. I love most of his stuff that he's done. He's got something currently out on, I think, Prime, and it's called After the Hunt with Julia Roberts, and another young actress whose work I've been following because I really love her acting style, if that makes sense. Anyway, check it out. Tell me what you think. Next time that's coming up, the next video essay that's coming up is going to be on Hype Williams because, you know, I mentioned him earlier. So stay tuned for that, and I'll check you guys later. Bomb, that's a little better.